Okay. Okay, I see a few people here. Lawrence, Marie. Alrighty. Uh, bear with me here, folks. Just getting set up. Okay. Now, Liquid Gal. What a day. I watched Carney give his announcement about the election. What a horrible experience that was going through. Anyways, that's out of the way. Now we got to deal with it. I can't believe the people in this country, some of them that creeper, that they just don't get it. Now, I put a post out today. Let's see if I can find it so I can get the actual terms that I used. And I'll bring it up. Okay, here it is here. Now, look, folks, we're in very dangerous territory here. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Everybody here knows exactly what we're up against. Pretty much, I would say. Lynn, how you doing? I put this post out. I put it out on Facebook. I put it on X. I think I might have put it, no, I think that was the two places I posted it. Anyways, here it is. Here's what I posted. It said, anyone voting Liberal should consider that it could be the last election with multiple parties. The Liberals under Trudeau stacked the Senate, the judges, the RCMP, the Governor General, and the media. Canada could become like China, North Korea, and other one-party countries. The gun grab, Bill C-63 censorship bill, the same cabinet ministers. This is the most important election in Canadian history. Conservatives need to get the message out to anyone that will listen. There's no turning back. Trudeau was the bad guy and stepped down for the wrecking crew. Now the boss has taken over to fool the people that he's the good guy. So we know that in that party, there are no good guys. People seem to think there is that, oh no, he's different. Yeah, well, he's different all right, but you know what? It's the same old party. It's the same old, same old. You got the same cabinet ministers and nothing's going to change. So, well, I see I got ads coming up here on this one. Viva Fry, what's going on there? How did that happen? Something come up here. Okay, I'm back. Now, like I say, it's the same old, same old. It's going to happen. Go on, Camp, Nova Scotia. I haven't seen you around for a long time. A dog's age. Mr. Magoo. Now, yeah, it's the same old, same old. Nothing's changed. Just got they put a new guy in, and he stole everything he could from the Conservatives, and the people ate it up. Like, wow, he's a great guy now. He's getting rid of the carbon tax. Well, all the people that were in favor of it or thought they were saving the planet, all of a sudden, it's okay to get rid of it now. But that's just one issue. There's just so many, but he stole everything. But I talked to the local conservative guy that's running for this riding. I know the guy. I've met him before. He's ex-military. He's a great guy, Brian McDonald. And they were posting a lawn sign out front for me. And I talked to him. I said, I wonder if they're going to be using electronic voting machines. And he kind of looked at me. He said, I don't know. I never thought anything about that. And I said, well, every time they do, the Liberals win. I said they used it provincially, and every time they use it provincially, the Liberals seem to win the election. Oh, this is just something to keep in mind, not that you can do anything about it, but it's something we should be watching for too. Is it going to be electronic voting? You know it's going to be rigged any way they can. So we're our backs to the wall. I was busy today. I was on Grok X because, Fred, read my previous your previous comment. Where's that now? What do you got? What are you saying there, Lawrence? When he's in the UK, sent his 13-year-old daughter to the Tavistock transgender clinic. Yeah, I know. She didn't go through the transition, but she looks like she's ready to. But anyways, that's yeah, I know where we're coming from, where you're coming from with that, and I agree with you 100%. Now, can't voting made a difference. They wouldn't let us do it. Well, I don't know about that, Ken. I'll tell you, when Harper was in, that's when I met this Brian McDonald back in 2015. It'd be 10 years ago. But when Harper was in, I worked as much as I could work. If I wanted to work, I could work 7 days a week, 365 days a year, pretty much, give or take Christmas and maybe another holiday or something. But in the oil and gas industry. And the country was doing good under Harper. Some people didn't like him. They figured it was time for him to go, and they took the big step and put in Trudeau. So, like I say, the country was doing good under the Conservatives back then. And we haven't done good since then. So I think voting does make a difference. And we're going to see. Just remember, with Bill C-63 and the gun grab, two major ones that the Liberals are going to push through, once they get that through, we're pretty much done. I don't think we're going to have any freedoms left because they've got control of everything else. Things have to be rolled back. Yeah, I actually watched Frank Vaughan today. I haven't watched Frank Vaughan for a long time. And it was a good video he had on there about PPC. If you haven't caught it, it's well worth watching. So it says a lot. I'll say that. It says a lot about the PPC. He was a member of the PPC. So, anyways, right now we're at a point where there's only about a 2% or 3% difference between Liberals and Conservatives. The PPC is looking at around 2.2% or so, just enough to put Carney in. So it's not looking good. The problem I have with Max, he only shows up when there's an election, and then he disappears again. So he's got to win a seat, and he can't seem to do that. But anyways, watch that video there with Frank Vaughan, if you can find it. So anyways, I was playing around on Grok X, and what I come up with, I think I'm going to try it here, and I got two computers going here, and one doesn't have a mouse. So I got to do everything with my finger on the keyboard. It kind of sucks. So, what did I ask Grok? Well, I'm going to have to go through it again. I had put these down, the questions I asked. Let's see, which one will I start with? Okay. these are Carney's policies here. Sorry, folks. Okay, the question I asked Grok was, is net zero possible? Because remember now, this is what Carney's, one of his priorities are, right? So I said, is net zero possible, and is it harmful to humans? So I'm already hoping for a debate, aren't we all? Okay. So what did Grok say about that? Is net zero possible, and is it harmful to humans? Net zero. Achieving a balance between greenhouse gas emissions produced and those removed from the atmosphere is theoretically possible, but its feasibility and impact on humans depend on how it's pursued. Technologically, we have tools to get close. Renewable energy, solar, wind, and nuclear, carbon capture, reforestation, and efficiency improvements. The IPCC suggests global emissions could hit net zero by 2050 with aggressive action, but real-world hurdles, cost, infrastructure, and political will make it a slog. For example, replacing fossil fuels entirely requires massive grid upgrades and battery storage, which aren't scaling fast enough yet. Plus, some sectors like aviation and heavy industry are stubborn emitters. Zeroing them out might need breakthroughs we don't have. And then it goes on to say, is it harmful? Not inherently. Cleaner air from less fossil fuel use could save millions of lives, and pollution kills about 7 million people yearly, per the WHO. If you believe the WHO, that is. Shifting to renewables might also cut energy poverty if done smartly, but the transition's messy. High energy costs during the switch could hit poor households hardest. Look at Europe's energy crunch post-Ukraine war, where gas prices spiked and people froze. Job losses in coal or oil regions could tank local economies without solid retraining plans. And if land grabs for biofuels or wind farms screw over indigenous groups or food production, that's a human cost too. Extreme pushes like banning all fossil fuels overnight could backfire, crashing systems we still rely on. But a gradual, balanced approach, less risky. Data's mixed. Germany's energy wind cut emissions 40% since 1990, but jacked up electricity prices. California's green policies slashed CO2 while growing its economy. Execution matters more than the goal itself, so possible, yes, with asterisks. Harmful? Depends on who's steering the ship and how they handle the trade-offs. That's a little different than when I first asked it today. So Grok, you see, this AI, it'll change. And you got to be very careful how you ask these questions. And as you see, the same question was asked. I got a variance in the replies. I'm not surprised because I've played around with this before, and you can kind of fool Grok, you know, and probably any of the AI out there, because all it is a big search engine, right? So, anyways, the other thing I was wondering about is the Canadian dollar. And if it would change for the good or bad. with a new leader. And we'll see what happened here. Maybe Grok is fooling me. Oh, it's still working on it, searching. So I wanted to know if it was going to change with a new liberal leader in government. And I also asked it if it would change with a new conservative leader. And I just found out that if you misspell with Grok, it really messes it up too. It's a hard way to do it here on this little laptop. We'll see what it says here now. It kind of gives itself a lot of leeway. It says, as of March 23rd, 2025, Mark Carney has been elected as new leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, succeeding Justin Trudeau, and is set to become Prime Minister soon. Well, it's soon election. Forecasting the Canadian dollar's movement with this change involves economic and political factors, and analysts have mixed views based on current dynamics. The Canadian dollar could face downward pressure in the near term. Carney inherits a tense trade situation with the U.S., where President Trump's tariffs, 25% on Canadian goods, threaten economic growth. A weaker Canadian dollar often follows trade uncertainty, as seen in late 2024, when it hit a two-decade low near 144 U.S. To Canadian dollar. We're almost there now. Analysts like David Doyle from Macquarie Group in early 2025 predicted further softening to $1.45 by Q3 of 2025. That means we got a 55-cent dollar. Citing monetary policy divergence, Canada easing rates now 4.25% and falling, while the U.S. holds higher rates. Carney's initial focus on retaliatory tariffs and economic nationalism might amplify this, as markets hate uncertainty. Posts on X also reflect bearish sentiment, with some expecting deficits and currency devaluation to prop up housing. On the flip side, the Canadian dollar could strengthen later in 2025 if Carney's policies stabilize sentiment. Pre-election polls from March 18th, 338 Canada show Liberals gaining, projecting a 55% chance of a majority, boosted by anti-Trump nationalism. A Reuters poll from October 2024 forecast a 1.7% rise to 1.32 US dollars to Canadian by year end. tied to expected rate cuts spurring growth. Carney's experience steering Canada through the '08 crisis as Bank of Canada governor might reassure markets. I don't know about that one. Especially if he leverages resources like critical minerals or clean energy, as he's signaled. Notice he says clean energy. He refuses to say gas and oil. Refuses. It's always clean energy. You know what that is? That's electricity. Where is he going to get it? CIBC's Avery Shenfield, October 2024, also sees a modestly stronger Canadian dollar if US dollar momentum fades. I don't see that coming, but I'm not an expert. It's a split call. Short-term weakness from trade friction and policy shifts. Potential recovery if Carney's leadership restores confidence. Too much hinges on U.S. trade outcomes and his untested political execution. Past forecasts don't fully price in this tariff wildcard. Historically, political transitions alone don't dictate currency trends. Economic fundamentals and global risk appetite do. Watch. U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar levels above 1.42 signals bearish continuation, below 1.35 hints at bullish reversal. So, I also asked if Mark Carney's in favor of the Century Initiative, and basically that was a yes. He just, I don't have the guy's name that he just brought in there now. He's basically the author of the Century Initiative. So that means a yes. Up with the migration and down with the services. We got a big battle ahead of us. I don't know. Nobody knows how it's going to turn out. But I'll tell you one thing, there's a lot of stupid people in this country. Americans went through it with the Democrats. But they got voted out. We had a dirty trick pulled on us. This was all in the works. Don't worry, Carney's been in the background. We know that for the last at least 5 years coaching Trudeau from behind the scenes. So Trudeau couldn't step outside without people screaming at him and cussing him out. So he knew he had to go. He knew his days were numbered. But he did as much dirt as he could on the way out the door, right? And that saved Carney from having to do it when he came in. Giving money away to Gaza, to Hamas, money to, I think it was Vietnam maybe, for sex health or something, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. Carney didn't have to do that. Trudeau did it for him. Now, Carney's picked up the torch, but he knew he was coming in. And look where they put him. They put him in Nepean, Ontario, Ottawa, where Arian Chandra, whatever his name was, they kicked him out and put Carney in. He could lose that riding. It's apparently mostly an ethnic riding, and they're probably not going to look too favorably on what they pulled on their guy that was, I think he was in there 15 years. So they gave him the boot. The voters might not think too much of that. Marie, Syria, right. That was another big bunch of money went to Syria. It wasn't, it wasn't Hamas. It was over to Syria to the terrorists there. The ones that are killing the Christians and the Alawites. So, yeah, like I say, Carney, he's a piece of work, and he is stealing everything he can because they don't have a plan of their own. Well, they do have a plan of their own, but they're not letting it out. It's in behind. They're playing the Conservatives' platform. When I talked to Brian McDonald here, I mentioned that, and he said, don't worry. He said Pierre's got lots of stuff he's going to be coming out with. And I said, yeah, I figured he would have. He wouldn't lay everything on the table. He's not stupid. He's not going to lay it all on the table for Carney to steal. So we'll see how it goes. The wheels are just turning here now for this election. Oh, Emma, speaking of migrants, now that spring is here, they're coming out of the woodwork. Yeah, they're out of hibernation, eh? Liquid Gal, UN exemplified the message that what the world needs is a global Green New Deal. Financial stability, economics, justice, public investment on decarbonizing energy in the food system. And the food system is another one, good point. Now, it never hurts to stock up a bit. If you got a few extra bucks, I'd be buying some canned food and just fill your cupboard up. No sense in having empty shelves, right? Food is forecast to go way up in price. What did I see? Well, I seen production was going to be cut back. And you see the WEF, Herrmeister Schwab, said that we got to ban backyard gardens because they're causing too much pollution. Everything they say it doesn't make any sense. Food has to be transported by trucks, and it needs diesel-fueled equipment to grow large amounts of food. When you grow it in your backyard, it doesn't have to be transported. You don't need heavy equipment to grow it. You can just go out and have a little garden plot and grow your own. They don't want you to do that. Well, there's a reason for that, right? They're going to price it out of range, especially if you go on the I'm trying to think what it is now. Anyways, they want to get us all on the welfare roll, right? The basic income. So universal basic income. So once they do that, then you're going to be on rations. There's not going to be much that you'll be able to afford to buy. So if you can get it now, get it now. And if you grow a garden, grow a garden. So it's not going to get easier. That's only if he wins the election. I'm sure I've lost faith in a lot of the Canadians, but it's not over yet. It's just starting. We have to spread the message. That movie by Andrew Lawton, a video, I don't know if you've caught it yet or not. I think it's Coal Mine Carney, I think it's called. Very good little video. Andrew Lawton did a real good job on that. He's running for the Conservatives. I'm not sure whereabouts he is. Ontario somewhere, southern Ontario. So, anyways, yeah, it's the black lung down in the U.S., the coal miners. And you've probably caught wind of that anyways. Carney's, the insurance company not paying out. Carney talking about all the money they're making up through this insurance company. So, Marie, any kits to check soil pH levels? It's not only your pH. You want to know how much nitrogen is in your soil, and you want to check your nutrients, right? So you can buy a test kit on Amazon, or you might be able to get one at your local garden supply place, but I haven't seen them. I had to get mine on Amazon, and it comes with 3 different vials to test the 3 nutrients: your phosphate, nitrogen, and I forget what the other one is. Anyways, then you can adjust your soil. And it depends on what you're growing, right? So if you want to get into it, into the science of the soil science, then yeah. And your pH, you can get that kit any garden supply place. So, my son says PP will be no different. Is that true? I can't stomach Canadian politics. Well, we won't know until it happens, right? People now, people a hell of a lot smarter than me out there. I use Jordan Peterson as an example. He's got confidence in Pierre. Gad Saad has confidence in Pierre. There's a lot of intellectuals that figure he's on the right track, and they figure he's going to follow through. Now, Pierre's not perfect. There's things that he won't speak out against, that he's scared to. But he knows what happens. It's the media that attack him. The media is so powerful in this country. That's why they want the censorship, the online censorship, because there's messages getting out that they can't allow to get out. So if they can shut us down, they'll shut us down. They'll start with the big ones at the top first and work their way down. So, Emma, I heard better to get test kits from the government. Yeah, you can try that. You're talking to somebody who's lost all faith in government pretty much, but PP claims that he knows nothing about Soji. He said he didn't know anything about WEF too. So, some people losing. They're disappointed. Pascal, you're disappointed in JBP and GAD. Yeah, well, they left the country. They'd seen enough. So, don't forget Harper's still around. Harper's doing a little bit of working behind the scenes, I think. He's definitely paying attention. So, you know, it's it's not like it used to be. The internet changed things a lot, right? The information source. So, for good or for bad, I think for good, because the information's getting out. It's divided people a lot more. That's for sure. There's some misinformation, but there's some truths coming out too. So, Faye, he said he wasn't a member. Yeah. Well, Michelle Rempel never said she wasn't a member. She didn't deny it. I think she still is. That's why she's in the backbench, probably. But he needs somebody in that riding. And she's been in there for many, many years. So, let's see, what else? It's, one of my sisters is siding with Trump now. Her husband was a long-time liberal politician. Wow. As you know, I've followed Trump from his first run in politics, but I think he's really caused a lot of confusion in this election. I wish he would have stayed out of it. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube it is what it is. The American media keeps pumping Trump on Canada. So he talks to the media. He's not one not to talk to them. So they ask him, he answers. But the media up here with the TDS, it's insane. I don't know what it is, but a little bit of liberalism, a little bit of media, or a lot of media. So we got a rough ride ahead. Can we trust the polls? Well, in the last few elections, the polls have been pretty close, but I look back at 2015 when Harper was running against Justin Trudeau. They had the Liberals down very, very low in the polls. Like, I'm talking tanking. And look what happened. In the last few days, it flipped. And I couldn't believe it on election night. I was watching it and I was like, what's going on? What the hell's going on? All of a sudden, Trudeau just basically ran away with it. But also those debates were bad. Harper never stood up to Trudeau in the debates. Trudeau just butted in and controlled them. And I don't know why, what was going on there. It almost looked like Harper wanted out. I don't know. So, yeah. Corn can, yeah, you got to head out, eh? Get off grid, grow your own food, arm yourselves, and make friends with like-minded people. It's good information or good advice. I support that 100%. So, but thanks for dropping by. It's good seeing you on here again. What do we got here now? Lawrence, does anyone have spiritual attacks last night? No, not myself. And Laocoon. Yeah, Nepean's near Ottawa. We'll see what happens with Carney running there, you know. I don't know what happens if he loses his seat, if he doesn't, well, he doesn't have a seat. If he loses that election, rather, he doesn't get a seat. Well, we'll see how that plays out. I know they are quite confident they wouldn't have put him in there, but hey, stranger things have happened. Now, I still say that we could very easily, if they go in, Liberals go in, we could be down to a one-party situation, which is horrible to think of, but it could easily happen. You know, communism does get voted in. Emma, Carney flopped in Alberta. Yeah, he missed the open net too. That was pretty wild. Yeah. Speak up. I'll check my volume, okay, and see what's going on. Maybe my volume's down, Faye. Let me double check that. I didn't check that. I usually check that before I come on. Oh yeah, oh my volume's, no. I think, we'll try that. Volume looks okay. Is that any better, Faye? We'll try that. See if that helps. I just don't want to get, yeah, I'm still within range. Where did I see that? Mr. Magoo, empty net, empty promises. Well, yeah, it's It's as bad as the Order of Canada pin dropping off his lapel when he landed in UK and he got off the plane and it hit the tarmac and broke. That's an omen of what's going to happen to Canada. So, yeah, my settings change on my software without me knowing it. I usually run through them all before I come live. Nick, spiritual attack. Had 2 weird dreams last couple of weeks that woke me up at 5:12 both times. We will see. I'm telling you, this is just like a roller coaster. Liquid gal, you 2-year-old. I think a lot of us are getting up there. So I don't know if I have to go up any louder on it. I don't know how much louder I can go up on it. If it's okay, we'll leave it at that. I don't want it to get too garbled. Does anybody have any thoughts on the polls and on the results coming up? I'm interested to see what comes out now for a platform between these two leaders. Singh is a washout. Singh did the damage he wanted to do. And Charlie Angus is gone too. Praise the Lord that Angus goes and crawls into a bottle of whiskey and stays there, and we don't hear from him again. Singh has got his pension. He destroyed the country. He's going to retire in luxury and probably hang out with the Khalistani terrorist supporters. So, he's probably going to lose his seat, is the word about town, I guess, anyways. So they're going to have a leadership review. Even if he does win, they're probably going to have a leadership review because they got to do something. That's a lot of the NDP votes went to Carney, or going to Carney. So, Sharp Singh hung himself, yeah. But he doesn't care. He was never going to... I'll never forget when he stood up in the House of Commons and when he said, when I become Prime Minister, and that's as far as he got because both sides broke out laughing and he had to sit down and start over again. So he did the damage held off on our chance for election. When Trudeau was in, we would have got rid of that party. They would have been gone. But Singh kept them in. And then they swapped leaders. And this is the mess we're in now. We can thank him for that on the way out. Marie, my husband, thinks the polls are fake. I don't trust the polls either after seeing what happened with Harris in the U.S. in their last election. So, Sharp Singh's running third in his own riding. Well, there you go. Shows to go you, right? You just never know. So, the PN has a lot of Indians in it. 79 terra firma. Yes, and they just might not vote for him because he stabbed their MP in the back. They probably don't like that. So I lied to the pollers. So, well, I'm just wondering how many people did lie to the pollsters. You know, just to throw a wrench into things. Nick Fortune, anyone else get texts saying it's for a poll? I haven't got any. So, You never know what's going on out there, right? Like, unless you're signed up with a political party, then they might they'd have your number. But then again, the scammers get our numbers too. Pascal, don't respond to those texts. No, it's best not to, probably. I delete a lot of stuff. Liquid gal, Italy will lead the way and serve as a test case to the social credit system for reward on good behavior. It starts in Italy, it will spread all over the EU, and we see it in 5 to 8 years. Yeah, if there's much left to Italy, they got that big volcano over there. It's something like 75 square miles, this volcano is. I think that's the size of the volcano, and it's getting ready to explode anytime. And they say it could be a worldwide event. So we might have a really cold summer. And that would just drive the cost of food up more too, and the scarcity of it. And of course, they're still keeping an eye on Yellowstone, but the one in Italy is the big one right now. Faye, God, it'd be hysterical if Carney didn't win the Nepean. I know, wouldn't it be funny? We'd have to have street parties for that. Oh. See, when they bring in that UBI, that social credit system, liquid gal, I don't know how that's going to work with, it will, anybody with precious metals, I don't know if it'll still be currency, I guess, with the UBI. The concern would be if they go to complete digital currency, which would be their social credit system. They need the digital currency for the social credit system, for the CBDCs. And then your gold and silver is going to be pretty much, I don't know. I don't know if you'll even be able to use it because everything will be digital. They know people are stocking up on gold and silver. Gold and silver keeps going up in price almost every day. It goes up and down a bit, but overall it keeps going up. They know people are collecting, they're trying to save it. So they don't want people to be able to use it. They want you on the system, of course, so they can control you with your social credit score. I really feel sorry for the young folks in their 20s that are facing this. You know, we had growing up, hey, we had to work to get by and make a life. But they're discouraging the people, the youth. They don't want them to have a life. They want them to be just serfs. So, I don't know. Emma, you've been keeping cash going the last few years. So have I. I pay cash for almost everything. It used to be only cards. I was on cards too, but I'm like you, I switched over to cash. And I notice other people doing the same thing, but sometimes the cashier, they get confused with cash. They're not used to it. Hey, you got copper pennies. Copper's going up in price. You might have to sell them by the pound. Nick, traded your cash in for silver 10 years ago. Best decision I ever made. You bet. Silver and gold. I had to liquidate my gold years ago when I shattered my arm, but then I started buying small amounts, more silver than anything. Silver is poor man's gold, so poor person's gold, sorry. Sorry, Trudeau. Sorry, not sorry. Laura, shiny those pennies with liquid mercury make them shiny like a nickel, yeah. Well, the copper pennies might be collector's items soon. If you bought your house for 30,000, that's when the dollar was worth something. Emma McDonald's clerk needed help counting my change. She didn't know how. Now they don't know how. They still get confused if you give them, if you try to round up or whatever. They they look at the cash register and it's saying one thing and they don't know what to do. So then they have to delete it and start over and enter the whole amount in. It could be because the machine, I guess, for at the end of the day, I guess for cashing out, they would have to have everything on that machine, right? It's probably a lot of the reason. So, Mr. Magoo, there's not much hope for the youth. Up to them to make the change with their vote. I've got faith in the young folks right now, you know. I have more faith in the young folk than I do in the seniors. I think the seniors are quite, well, don't want to generalize here. A lot, put it this way, the seniors that had government jobs all their lives, I'll put it that way, the seniors that had government jobs all their lives would be voting a Liberal. That's their pensions. They got the government pensions. They're going to support the Liberals. Not that the Conservatives are going to destroy their pensions. It's just that's the way they always did. Well, we always voted Liberal. We're not going to change now. You know, don't matter who the Liberals put in. They voted for Trudeau 3 times. So, 79 terra firma, most are foreigners. They got that one too. Who brought them in? Trudeau. Who are they going to vote for? Carney. Of course, that's the oldest trick in the book with the Liberals were to flood the country with new voters, the same as the Democrats did in the U.S. Not on as big a scale, though. I mean, Dems, they had the southern border wide open. We had our southern border wide open. We don't have a northern border, I guess. But, yeah, our Canada-U.S. border was wide open with Trudeau at Roxham Road and other points. I haven't looked at our information updated yet. I'll have to do that maybe for next week and see what they have. Unless I'll take a look at something here. I'm going to look at the asylum claims and see if we got a bunch coming in or not. See if I can find it updated. Here it is. And see what's been happening here on our border. It's at our airports mainly. And that'd be my oldest sister, Fred. Big, nice pension, yeah. I'm just going to go right down. I'm not going through it. I'm going right down to the bottom and see our totals, because it's only for January only, folks. This is only for the month of January. Here we are at the end of March, and they still don't have those numbers even for February, right? So, so in 1 month we had 10,575 asylum claims. So, hasn't slowed down a whole lot, and they were basically coming in through Toronto International and Montreal airports. So, looking at energy costs in Canada. 1 in 5 Canadian households, that's 20% of Canadian households, earn less than $55,000 a year, and they suffer from energy poverty. And it's going to get interesting on April 1st when the politicians get their raise. The carbon tax is supposed to come off on fuel, or is reduced to zero rather. But we have a clean energy tax. Carney never said anything about that, so that'll stay on. And we're going to have a production cost. And then we're going to switch over to summer fuel coming up, which keep adding to the price. What was I looking at today? It cost me around $350 to fill up my truck, my F-150, about $350. If they come back, if the Liberals come in and they put that increase, not only to bring the carbon tax back up to where it is now, but also the increase, I'll be looking at about $500 to fill up the truck. So I won't be driving the truck much. And a lot of people won't be driving the truck much, their trucks, and the companies now, just for example, a plumbing company to show up to your door is around $135 to $150 just to get them into your yard without they even touching a toolbox. So that will go up to $200 or more. So, but it's not just the plumbing companies, electricians or carpenters or anybody else, because of the fuel costs and everything else will keep driving the price of everything up. So, like I say, nothing's going down in price. And you know, there's people that carbon tax rebate, okay, it didn't cover what I spent in fuel costs alone, let alone the cost of everything else that it was on. What about these people that are on social assistance, say, for example? They don't own a vehicle. Now they don't get their carbon rebate. So now they're missing out on $80, $190, $100, whatever it was, right? So that's going to hurt them. Once they get used to more handouts, they're used to the social assistance, but some people need it. That's what it's there for. It's really not there for the guy that's got two or three wives and 6 or 12 kids that come into the country just to live off the system. But that's an issue that is hard to deal with. I don't know how they're ever going to deal with that. Look at England. England's going down right now as I speak. That country's collapsing economically. Carney had a hand in that. But it's the immigration issue that's bleeding their system dry. And these Liberals are going to start flooding our country more. And we're right behind them. We're just a few years behind them. 4 more years with Carney in there, we'll be collapsing too. Remember, the WEF wants Canada. We're a prize, this country with all it's got. If they can corral the people into 15-minute cities and plunder it, then I guess they've succeeded. So I see over now in Austria, that's another left-wing country over in Europe, uh, they are putting an annual fee on homeowners for an inspection, just like a motor vehicle inspection. They're going to have somebody come into their home and walk through and check everything out. They're going to charge them 1,000 euros. Well, I looked that up today. That's $1,550 Canadian, and they have to pay it. And if they're renting, the landlord will pass that on to the tenants. So $1,550 payout bill for them to come in and walk through the place and make sure whatever they're looking for. So you don't think that won't be coming to the other countries? Any way they can get us, they will. Lawrence, when you worked, you used to make around 65 to 70,000 a year and barely made ends meet. Yeah. Since retirement, you make 25 a year, and I'm doing great. Well, I'll tell you, it costs a lot of money to go to work, doesn't it? France is about to lose 3 of its provinces to Islam as they've conducted secession clause. Isn't that nice? Just give it up. It was Charles I, I believe it was, that was in France at the time when the Crusades were on. And the Crusades, the French were fighting Islam, the expansion. And that's actually, England and France got along because England sent their knights over to push Islam back. They pushed them all the way back down into Spain and into the Holy Land, they called it. Israel and Syria, North Africa. They were pushed back mostly into North Africa. So, and now they're back again. Some things, I don't know. Like, I don't know. They're here too. Look at them blocking the streets in Toronto praying, and the cops stand there and protect them. Allow them to block the streets. But you can't park a truck and blow your horn in front of Parliament. Vatican made a lot of money from the crusade. Yeah, I'm not sure. I never followed that too much. I know the Vatican probably did pretty good under the Nazis too. They probably got a little bit of stolen loot. So, let's see. Anyways, yeah, there we are. Islam taking over France, being given up. It's strange because the French, they're pretty active when it comes to protesting and standing against the government, but I guess the authorities crush the protesters now, similar to like Canada. Liquid gal. Emma, once upon a time, England had the biggest military force, especially the Marines and military boats. That's right, sun never set on the British Empire. That shortchanged. We had a pretty good Navy and Air Force. We even had an aircraft carrier back in the 60s. I think it was the Bonaventure, I think it was called. So Canada even had an aircraft carrier, and we actually had some planes too to land on it and take off. Imagine that. But I think after that, that was probably Pearson come in that shut down our military because we went into a peacekeeping corps under Lester B. And the Liberals continually trashed the military after that. The Conservatives tried sometimes to build it up a bit, but they cut back on the expenses, and here we are. That's why Trump says you got to do something about your military. You got to build it up. I agree. So that's all he's asking. That's all Trump was asking. Build up your military, protect your border, and shut down the fentanyl trafficking. And Trudeau and Carney turned it into an election ploy. Wow. Emma, do the snowbirds still do a show? I don't know if they do or not. There are a couple of incidents there. One crashed up at Cold Lake, I think it was. I think that's where they're based out of, is Cold Lake. So I don't know if they do or not. German veterans said Canadian troops were the best. So we had the airborne too. The Canadian 1st Airborne. It got disbanded, but if you look that up, the Canadian 1st Airborne, they were used in World War II. And their first mission, they got dropped in behind enemy lines, I think they did, is what happened. And they found themselves in a bad situation there. That's an interesting story. You can search that online. So I watched a video today from Nazi Germany. And it was the German video, a war video, and they had an interpreter, and it was D-Day, and it was what the Nazis were saying about D-Day as the troops were coming in. And it showed a bunch of captured airmen. It was Canadian Airborne, 1st Airborne. That's probably when they got lost behind lines because, anyways, they were captured. And a lot of them were from Nova Scotia. So it was interesting. It was about a 30-minute video. It was a propaganda video that the Germans used on the invasion. Of course, they would call it the invasion of France by the Allies, right? So it was interesting. We did have a proud military during the Second World War. We had, it's funny, I was out in Calgary. This is years ago, back in 80, 87, 88. I was in a dentist office, and I noticed a bunch of letters, signed letters, framed in the waiting room, in the wall, hanging on the wall. And I asked the dentist, I said, what's up with all those letters on the wall? And he said, well, those are all guys I served with. I said, oh, so why the letters? And he said, well, those are the guys, we were in the Great Escape. And I said, whoa. So I actually met one of the guys that was in the Great Escape. He was in Calgary as a dentist. I thought that was pretty wild. Yeah, we did our part. I worked with a guy that served in North Africa, hunting Rommel, World War II. Basil, I forget his last name now. He's long gone. They all are. But interesting to talk to out in North African desert. Emma, you met a couple who were in the Holocaust. Yeah, I met one guy was in the Holocaust. I think he was from New York, but I met him in Vancouver. I actually got a little thing here that he made. It's it's kind of nice. It's 3 little pieces of wooden dowel with some cordage around the bottom. I'm looking at it here now, and it's got 3 seagulls made out of seashells sitting on the 3 little pieces of wooden dowel. He did a nice job. He had a whole room full of this stuff that he made out of seashells. So, Vivo Cristo Ray 777, hello, all from Minnesota. Well, hello back. You know I'm here at the end. I've been gone all day. Better late than never. Good to see you. What's happening in Minnesota? I remember the days in Cowtown, yeah. Mr. Magoo. You met people with tattoos on their arm. Yeah, numbers tattooed on them, eh? And then you got a tattoo on your leg. How about one of your neighbors that they saw the Nazi march into town, 12 years old? That would be a scary thought, eh? Scary sight. I don't think we have to worry about a land invasion. I think it's going to be a drone war. You know, the drones are highly effective. The enemy doesn't lose any combatants. Drones are cheap. I watched a short clip of a Russian soldier in Ukraine, and the drone was coming over to drop grenades, and his commanding officer had told him, lay down, and when it drops a grenade, roll as far as you can, as fast as you can for 3 seconds, and then have your back to the grenade. And it saved the guy. That tactic saved the guy. When the grenade went off, he came up uninjured. But that's scary. That's death from above, and that's just drones. You can't hear them. They're very quiet. They're fast. They're effective. They're deadly. So, and I think we have other threats than drones. Yeah, elections. People Cristo Ray, you've had 2 blizzards. I've seen something like that coming through there, March 5th and March 19th, but now all the snow is almost gone again. We have an insane governor rejoicing the Tesla stocks are dropping, even though Minnesota state employee. I don't know if I can bring that up farther. So, even though state employees' pensions have lots of stock in Tesla, that's happening here too. There's 80 of them vandalized in, I think it was Vancouver. It's ridiculous. These people are insane. They've lost it. I mean, these are the people that wanted electric vehicles because it's going to save the planet. You got to get rid of these gasoline-powered vehicles. Now they're out torching them. I think Trump said, what are they doing? It's a terrorist act of domestic terrorism now. They're, what is it, 20 years in prison, I think? Good on them. So, Lawrence got 2 inches of snow today in Moncton. We got some here too, but it's all gone now pretty much. But tomorrow we're going to get, what, 10 to 12 centimeters, 4 to 6 inches. Oh my God. So, Faye, you got grass there. Well, in southern Ontario is usually a little warmer. Now, so that's our weather report. Okay, folks. Man, oh man. If you get a chance to look up uh, Andrew Lawton's video, I think it's called Carney in the Coal Mine. Look it up on the black lung. It's very disturbing what this guy is doing for money, how he treats people. And that's exactly how we're going to be treated too. So, Lynn mowed the backyard a little yesterday. Yeah, well, you look where you are. Not like you get a lot of snow, eh? Plant Boy +4 in the Great White North. Yeah, that's one thing though, Lynn. I don't have to mow the grass six months of the year here anyways, or more. And Liquid Gal says the end of this week we're going to hit 18 degrees centigrade. Yippee! Oh, that would be nice. Someday it'll get here. So, okay, we got predictions. Well, look, it's a short election period, right? 28th of April. Carney wanted to keep it as short as possible because he can't have this any more information getting out on him. You know, he's got to play his cards close to his chest because he's got a lot of skeletons in the closet, and I think it's a big closet. So I guess everything that we can find. The thing is, like, I set up that account on Blue Sky with all the liberals, and it's under a pseudonym and everything, right? That's different. It's not CCN or anything. It's it's sane, not insane. So I go on there and I'll drop something on there once in a while and leave. I haven't got blocked yet or kicked off. And there's another YouTube channel. I forget forget the name of it, but I subscribe to it just so I can heckle them a bit, right? Troll them some. Now, I get on there and I just left a couple little comments and I said, well, okay, I'm going to let you liberals go now. I haven't got time to stick around. And of course, the host, there's two of them, he replies, how many times do I have to tell people we're not liberals, we're centrist? Well, they're not very centrist, I'll tell you that. They're pretty hard-nosed liberals. They just don't want to admit it. 79 Terra Firma, is there a debate? I sure hope there is. I mean, they can, I think it's not mandatory, and it's optional if anybody wants to show up. I think it looks bad if, say, Carney didn't show up, but I don't think Carney cares about the optics so much. So we'll see. Carney was a dick to a reporter in Edmonton when asked if I'd seen that, he'd be paying back taxpayers for a flight to the EU. He went off on a rant about nothing. Yeah, and then the reporter said, I'll take that as a no. And well, there'd better be a debate, especially in French. He may mess up and say Hamas is our friend. Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, who's going to be in the debate? You got Singh. Elizabeth May is going to be in there just annoying everybody. Singh's just going to waste time. So, Faye, crap, Lynn. Oh, Lynn, allergic to bees. Yeah, that's not good. Need your EpiPen. Liberals have moved to Blue Sky now, Liquid Gal. Yeah, it's all liberals. And oh, they just love Carney and they just hate the conservatives. They're all over there with a group hug online there, so that's a good place for them. That's the problem, though. We can't get the message out. They all departed from X. And So we're preaching to the choir on X, and they're over there celebrating together. So that's why I drop over every once in a while and kick some dirt around and leave, eh? Sharp CBC debate with all questions being Liberal talking points. Yeah, well, I think Rosemary Barton still got her nose out of joint a bit. She's not used to the Liberals talking down to her, right? So we'll see. Some of the media today, anybody watched the announcement there from Carney on the Liberals in front of the Governor General's place there? Some of them come out with some questions. I don't know what's going on with the media. They're hard to read right now. It depends on the reporter, I guess. So Carney seems to snap at the women reporters when he doesn't like what they say. I haven't seen him snap at the men too much because I don't think he has enough spine in him to do it. So we'll see. You got daffodils up 7 inches. Holy cow. They tried to put a conservative sign on my lawn. They couldn't get it in through the frost. I could only get it down a ½ inch. So I had to show them where to put it in the flower bed. Vivo, every place I've been reading about politics in Canada, they hate Trudeau from Canadians and don't like Carney. Well, then you're catching some conservative views. I guess if you went on Blue Sky, you would see all kinds of love and hugs for Carney on there. And a lot of vitriol against the Conservatives because they're nothing but, I don't even know what they call us now, Nazis or something, I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know if we're going to need some street parties if the Liberals lose the election. We're going to have to get out there and start celebrating, honking horns and waving F. Carney flags. They're on sale right now, the flags and stickers, so might have to get a couple of stickers for the truck and the car. And I better just put it on the car. The truck's got new paint. But yeah, we should have some block parties to celebrate. And if we lose, well, be nothing to celebrate for a long time. We're going to be a sorry, sad bunch of people. I don't want to even try to think ahead of what it would be like under 4 more years of this Liberal government. Emma, honk honk, that sound frightened Justin, yeah. We did a lot of slow rolls here with the flags and honking the horns, holding up traffic. We got some fingers, got lots of cheers. Now it wouldn't happen that way. I think a lot of the Conservatives are kind of holding back because these Liberals are fanatics. His riding is 20-minute drive from my place. Where do you get the flags? You got to get them on Amazon. It's the only place I've seen them. You can get the ones for your vehicle window, or you can get the full-size one. They're not very much, $5-10 or something. Vivo, poor Canada. Oh yeah, we're in a rough spot. Similar to what the U.S. was in there with the Democrats with Biden. You guys had 4 years of that mess. It's just we've already had 10 years of punishment. I don't know if there's any coming back if he gets in. Sure feel sorry for my sons, yeah. Like I say, the generations come behind, man. Marie, where to escape? Paraguay? Where? We've checked it out since '08 when they tried a coup. I was just thinking that the other day. Well, yeah, actually today I was thinking that. Where would a person go? Uh, we're at the point now, would you really want to go to the U.S. with the way the government has been treating the U.S. government? Some people in the U.S. now are hostile to Canadians because they think that we're all idiots. So, you know, we're very limited. I know people that went to Ecuador. I should get a hold of them again and see how they're doing. I haven't talked to them for a long time. Wonder how Carney got 82% of the votes in Freeland's riding, in every riding, eh? Yeah. Faye, way worse than Trudeau. Carney scares me. He scares me too. I know he's pure evil. Faye, they already got the Carney flags. Yeah, they do, yeah. And it's a good show of solidarity, the flags and stickers. Yeah. Alberta and Saskatchewan are right lead. They're just chewing at the bit right now. They want out. Well, did you see the statement from Danielle Smith? Today she came out with it. She's been talking to the U.S. again. She asked that Trump could hold off on these tariffs until after the election because it's helping the liberals. So good for her. And she gave a list of demands to Carney. If the liberals go in, if they're not met, then it's a national unity crisis and Alberta will be having a referendum to leave. Marie, SHTF in Ecuador, really? Wow. Kevin Johnson is in Panama. But the other thing is, if you pull stakes and leave, what happens if they go digital with the currency once you're out of country? Well, you're pretty much hooped then, right? They'll just shut you off, and you'll have no income if you're pensioned. If you're not pensioned, that's a different story. So, like I say, it's a big decision. It's just a little late in the game for me. I'm not going to go to another country and try to start over with no money, pockets hanging, turned inside out, and trying to work. So they got us in a bad spot. So, you know, remember that slogan with Biden, let's go Brandon. Yeah. Yeah. Marie, plus all the baddies are being pushed back south. Okay. Yes. Right. Liquid Gal, weren't people that carried the Canadian flag during the Freedom Convoy were called misogynistic, far-right, and slammed by anyone who carried the flag? Oh, yes, but now it's different. They're affirmative guys just where they want us. That's the way I see it, too. Remember, the gun grab is going to be front and center. You watch. If Carney goes in, I bet you within a month. We'll see how close I am on this, if he goes in. If they get a majority. The gun grab. They don't even need a majority for that because the bloc would side with them right on that. So, yeah. First the gun grab and censorship. I don't know which would come first. Censorship bill has to go through. The gun grab, that's already illegally put in, so they'll just go and do it. As soon as they find somebody that's willing to go knocking on doors looking for guns and ammunition. I don't know if anybody really wants that job. Marie, just like you, Fred, too old to start over. Yeah, Faye Knox, stock up on food. That's at least, get that canned chicken and stuff there, all right? Stock up on meat, canned meat. They want to get rid of the beef. They don't want anybody eating the beef. They want to price it out of the market. And then the pigs are, for some reason, they're picking on the pigs. They want to jack them up with the, MR pokes, the jabs, you know what I mean, right? So, and then the chickens, they just want to kill all the chickens off. They were trying to kill those poor ostrich out in British Columbia, but so far they've been pardoned for now. 80 of them, I think, they wanted to slaughter. And none of them are sick. One of them sneezed or something. I don't know what it was. So, it is, I don't know. It's what the U.S. was, but it's on steroids here because we're more of a socialist country. Well, folks, I guess that's it. Appreciate you being on here, joining in. It's always great to see you all on here. A lot of people like to get on here and see what the heck has been going on for the week. So we got a very tense time ahead of us. So let's pay attention to what's going on. I guess these are outdated now. I got to change them. But I can get the Carney ones. All right. So once again, thank you very much. And you know what I say, don't take the path of least resistance. We have to resist. We have to stay on top of this, right? And we're going to get that message out. And we all got to vote, and if we got to take somebody with us and drag them with us, we will. We got to beat these ones. So hang in there. Have a great week. Have a wonderful week, I hope. And I'll say bye for now. God bless.